Welcome to Woodward Wings, and I have a special guest this weekend. We have the Spenmo Rax this week, and it is a pleasure. Thank you for being here. Flannel is on vacation right now, and he is getting some much-needed rest, as we will break it down. And we actually had some heaters this week, I can't lie.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting the Yzerman press conference to go the way that it went down, but it was definitely interesting. We have those reactions coming up. I also had my first credentialed media event where I went and I covered the Griffins in their first game of their AHL playoffs. It did not go well. They got absolutely pumped 4-0. But I did have some interesting takeaways, which I'm going to go over with Spenmo. It's going to create some great conversation. So let's dive on into it with the Steve Yzerman stuff, because he was spitting fire. And the first thing that I want to talk about was the trade deadline. He said that there was no good options at the trade deadline. And this is something that me and you talked about in our first episode together, how we were unwilling to give up guys like Casper, ASP, for a player who isn't going to be that guy, that dude. Like, we were only willing to give – yes, there you go. And so if we're looking at the moves that did happen, like Dylan Cousins, for example, there's no way in hell I'm giving up Casper, Raymond, ASP for that. And I think that goes for anyone who got traded at this trade deadline. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that. I think the only player that would have made the Red Wings team as is a playoff team if you got him was Rantanen, and obviously that was never going to happen. He had where he wanted to go, and it was not going to be Detroit. So if you look at what we heard from Buffalo is that they demanded Marco Casper for Dylan Cousins. I guess Dylan Cousins, which I would have liked. That would have been a 2C. That would have been a guy you could bring in here. He would have helped you win some games. But it would have been a net negative for the team giving up Marco Casper for him. As is this year, Marco Casper is already a better player than Dylan Cousins. So I wouldn't have done that. And no, I'm not giving up ASP for a guy that you might make the playoffs with if you bring in, but you probably wouldn't have anyways. So I wasn't mad about that. And I agree with Stevie that there wasn't a move that was like, okay, they got to do that because that's going to make them a Stanley Cup contender.
I agree. And from a contractual side of it, the value that Casper had at his current figure on his rookie deal versus Cousins, who in my opinion has another high contract when you're about to re-sign Edmondson in the next year, who he's going to cost a pretty penny.
Yeah,
he's going
at least $8 million.
Yeah, he's going to be expensive. So you have to prepare for that. And so as we go into free agency this year, and first of all, the due diligence that he said he was willing to trade high-level prospects, and he made those calls, and the offer sheets were just too high, is where I respect, where he was willing to actually go get that dude, which hopefully that opens up some options in the offseason, which we'll get into in a minute. But then he went on to say that he was willing to pay a player over $10, $11 million if they help this team, and that's exactly what I wanted to hear.
Yeah, that's 1C money. That is superstar money. That's what you don't have right now. You don't have a superstar. You don't have a game changer. You don't have one of those guys that's thought about as, okay, he is one of the best players in the NHL, and that's what will take you from being a borderline playoff team, which they have been the past 2 years, to being a Stanley Cup contender. And the guy on the market that everybody's going to talk about is Mitch Marner. And if you want Mitch Marner, you're going to have to fork out $14 million a year. And that is Steve Yzerman saying he's willing to swim in those waters if it makes sense. Mitch Marner makes sense to me to put on this team, to be your 1C, to be that guy that is going to score 40, 50 goals a year. I think they should do it, but we'll see.
Well,
I'm not going to get my hopes up.
He's probably going to play right wing
on
that Raymond Larkin line if he does come here. And that is the significant move, because in terms of the other players in this free agency class, we got Ehlers, who's a solid top six forward, very good on the top end, but he's not the dude. He's not the dude, okay? There's a level. The same, then there's the Sam Bennett's of the world. He's a defensive 2C.
I would like Sam Bennett, though.
He would be nice, but at the end of the day, I will bet you so much money he gets overpaid.
Yeah, he's definitely going to get $12 million or something like that, and it's and didn't mean 1C. I just meant like superstar. Like you if you sign Marner, Larkin's still your 1C, and then you probably have Casper at 2C, and then you move from there. Maybe if you're keeping, because Compher's off the books, but Kopp is still on the books, or is it the other way around?
No, they're both on the books. You're gonna have to trade one of them most likely this offseason. I believe they're gonna trade JT Compher for future considerations, and they're going to roll out a lineup next year of Larkin, Casper,
Kopp,
And then 4C,
Is
whoever
Danielson your 4C? You don't bring him in to beat 4C.
No, I put Danielson probably on a third line as a winger, and
Okay.
I give him the chance to get used to the NHL game like Casper did it.
Yeah.
And Steve Yzerman said that he likes the track that Danielson has following in Casper's footsteps. So I like the fact that you put him on a line with some experience, let him be that guy, that playmaker, and let him fail upwards.
So what would it be? Danielson, Kopp, Tarasenko on your third line?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't hate that. I mean, it's good to get Danielson some minutes. Obviously, he is going to be a guy that's.
But
fighting
I'm not bringing
for
back
that
Berggren.
You're not.
I think that's that is such an overblown move in the Red Wings community. I hate that opinion. I don't think that he is.
He's a bottom six forward. It's what he is. I mean, you're going to have to. Are you willing to leave that spot for Berggren, or would you rather give it to Danielson? You know what Berggren is.
I'd rather give it to Lombardi.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Lombardi is showing like a lot, which we'll talk about in a little bit. When I went to the AHL game, he was easily the best player on the ice for Grand Rapids. So I think I might even be putting Tarasenko on our fourth line next year.
I mean,
I can't lie.
I would be putting Tarasenko in a retirement home next year, personally.
I mean, that's true.
But it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
So
I think.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely should be a fourth line guy. So what, you put Rass on the third line?
Honestly, maybe I'm running a Rasmussen, Soderblom, and Mazer fourth line.
I would like that. That would be a
Danielson.
Because what? Then
Lombardi
Rass will play the center on there, right?
Yeah, and then Danielson, Lombardi, and Kopp as my third line.
Danielson, Lombardi, and then what? Tarasenko's just a floater. He's just healthy scratch.
Yeah, Tarasenko or maybe he's on that third line if
he's
Lombardi.
He's got to play.
It's all right. Then Tarasenko is there with Danielson and Lombardi probably.
You can't. I mean. Because then you have
playing mental gymnastics with myself right now, trying to think of these lines.
I wouldn't mind seeing them fucking shoot Comfort and Kopp to the moon.
Well, they're trading. No, you need Kopp. I trust. I know.
I know he was playing very well when the Red Wings were hot. Before he got injured, he was winning faceoffs. He was filling into that 2C role nicely.
He made that DeBrincat and Kane line a net positive 5-on-5.
But you got to think, but you
that's value. When you can take two defensive negatives and make the entire line a net positive 5-on-5, which we don't have. We don't have a lot of net positive 5-on-5 play going on on any line.
That is very true.
So that's why Kopp is so
he's your most important defensive center.
Yes, to this like restructure.
But you got to think, if you want to bring in, if Lombardi, Danielson, and Mazer are all going to get spots on this team, then two of Kopp, Comfort, and Tarasenko can't be on it. And it's not going to be Tarasenko because nobody's taking that contract.
There might be a team that takes it for half the value, like a contender that's looking for a short term. He's a rental next year. He's a rental next year.
Bad, though. Is he even worth a rental?
I think there's probably a team out there that thinks they can get something out of him, especially in a role where he can. Yeah, like if you send him back to Florida and you put him on a line with Sam Bennett again, he will produce.
Yeah.
Like I mean, let's be real. He didn't have very producible line mates with him this year. Productive, yeah. Not a lot of productive line mates with him this year.
That's true. And that's what he is.
He's not, we talked about
he's not going to make plays.
Willing to carry an offensive load at this point in his career. He's not even a power play specialist at this point in his career.
He's nothing. He is literally nothing. He needs two superstars on his line to be good.
He needs two guys who can carry the load. And I think it brings in a lot of interesting possibilities this offseason.
So bad.
But I would bet that one of the three is definitely not here.
Yeah.
And
it's probably confident.
And I'm pretty confident that because the way that Yzerman talked about Tarasenko, he was like,
we need more from him.
I expect more from him. Like, we need more from him. That is something I feel like he wouldn't say unless he was trying to, like, rumble it up a little bit. Either if it's to put pressure on Tarasenko,
build his stock a little
or
bit.
Build his stock and just let the league know, maybe I'm fielding
There's more
calls.
in the tank. Yeah.
And, I'm fielding calls.
If Stevie could get somebody to take Tarasenko's contract, I won't talk about firing him ever again.
Yeah, that's a fair move.
He's awful, and that is a terrible signing by Steve Yzerman. And I'm not going to say, hindsight's 20/20. I know I was happy when they signed Tarasenko, but he is cooked. So if you can get, he needs to be off the roster, just like Justin Hall needs to be. If the Red Wings start the season with Justin Hall on the roster next year, they are not serious about making the playoffs.
And the thing is you could send Justin Hall somewhere, and so that someone will take him.
Yeah, it's not like his contract's awful.
His contract's awful. It's not like
he just sucks.
I mean, he sucks, but he's not awful. Like some team that needs just an NHL level body. Would take him.
He's one of the worst defensemen I've ever seen in my life.
Dude,
bro.
I know.
Bad.
I know, but the rest of the Wings defensemen don't help.
That's fair.
I mean, he's playing with Gustafsson, and he's supposed to be the defensive defenseman of the two of them. We're not in a good situation here. No. We're dealing with brutality. In the back end right now.
No goalies, and your fucking third pair is Gustafsson Hall. No shit, we lost fucking. Oh god.
And respect to McClellan for going out there and just saying straight up, we pissed games away.
Absolutely.
And that's why I respect him so much and why I have so much faith.
Oh, he's
in
not
him
gonna bullshit you.
That he I like him as a coach a lot. He no BS, the straight minded, and he gets the best out of his guys. It seemed like the only guy who didn't really play for him was Tarasenko.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? We'll see whether or not that plays a part in this offseason or not. But he also mentioned the goalie situation. And Yzerman was talking about Kosa, and he said that the Kosa needs to show more.
He's got to be lights out in the playoffs.
And that he did not start lights out in the playoffs. Nope. He let up 4 goals. He got pulled in the second period. And not saying that these goals were his fault, because 2 of them were very brutal screens that he could not see. But there's a point where you do have to get your body in front of it.
Yep, you're a big guy.
And you're a big guy. And he let him through, some, one was through under his arm, one went over his shoulder. And then you let up a 2-on-1 goal, which unfortunately was ASP's fault.
Yep.
I will not lie. I sent the video clip to Spen.
Yeah, you did.
And it was
ugly.
It was a 2-on-1 because ASP took the wrong guy. There was 3 guys coming down the wing, 1 guy going in the net, 1 guy up high, 1 guy with the puck on the wall. Mm-hmm. ASP decided to take the guy up top and left the guy wide open backdoor for an easy backdoor pass. So I can't really blame that one on Kosa. But Kosa did not look great.
No.
His lateral movement was flawed. He did not look ready. And hopefully he will bounce back. Hopefully it was the long rest. But as of right now, you're going into the season with Mrazek and Talbot, like I have been telling you for the past 2 months. Mrazek's the best goalie in this team. There's no doubt about it. And I think that they are relatively comfortable starting the season with Mrazek. What they did say, however, they are going to explore more bridge deals with goalies. So do they, does Talbot...
is Kosa cooked? Because if you are signing a bridge goalie right now, you're bridging to Trey Augustine.
Yeah,
you're not bridging for Kosa.
You are bridging to Trey Augustine. That's a great point.
If you're signing another 2-year deal to a goalie, you're bridging to Trey Augustine, and Kosa's not. He's nothing. So should you just if you are not bringing up Sebastian Kosa next year to play serious minutes on this team, you should trade him.
Yeah.
Because somebody would want him.
I think his value is higher to someone else than for you because you have Augustine in the pipeline.
I agree.
And I think that's something that may come into question depending on this playoff hunt, because if he doesn't show that he has the next step, that will be 3 years in the AHL.
Yeah, he's old.
That is even for a goalie. Goalies develop even slower than players in the NHL. But we're talking about 3 years, and then that would be starting the year in GR, playing another at least half a season in GR, and still not being remotely ready by the trade deadline next year. There's no doubt in my mind. He is more valuable to someone else that has real goalie issues than you, who has Trey Augustine in the pipeline. Trey Augustine, unlike Kosa, shout out, he is unbelievable.
Spartan dog.
Is very good on his angles.
Yeah.
Is very good at moving side to side laterally.
Post to post, he's insane.
He might be able to, limited time in the AHL.
If you could put Trey Augustine's mental capability and athleticism into Kosa's body, you'd have Andrei Vasilevsky.
You would. There's no doubt about that. I think the ceiling is definitely at this point higher for Augustine. There's no doubt about it. I think that bridge sailed about a year and a half ago, when we're still hearing that Kosa's struggling with lateral movement, and I'm a year and a half into being in the AHL.
He's big and stiff, and he hasn't improved in a year. And that's It sucks, man, because you would have loved to have him be the bishop to your Vasilevsky like Stevie Y was trying to do. But like I said, if he is not ready to go by next year, I think you should trade him. Because if you're considering keeping Mrazek and Talbot, and like you said, getting a bridge guy for 2 years, you're not bridging 2 more years for 5 years in GR Sebastian Cossa. Not a chance. You are bridging for Trey Augustine. So if he's not ready to go at the end of this playoff run with Grand Rapids, I think you should start shopping him.
Yep, and you better be looking for a serious bridge. Like, we're not talking like a Mrazek or a Talbot, even though I'm pretty comfortable with Mrazek, honestly.
Yeah, Mrazek and Talbot I don't hate. I don't hate that one, too.
But let me throw you a theory that I threw Big D last summer, and I was like, why are we not trying to go after Linus Ullmark? He only wants a 5-year deal.
Yeah.
You're waiting on Cossa and Augustine. Best case scenario, they're ready in 2 years. At that point, you trade him with 3 years left on his deal. He's 32 years old. Mm-hmm. He's still got a couple years left in his prime. Like, that's not like.
How much would he cost? Probably.
Now he's not available.
Yeah.
But last year he cost them.
Yeah.
I think he's under like a $7 or $8 million deal.
I see that.
But like
that would have been great.
Like at this point, like that would have been great. You could have done what you. I mean, you didn't necessarily have anyone of the value. Well, Seth Jones, but
yeah.
I mean, you could have
Mike Jones.
You could have offered the Panthers like Tarasenko because they would have probably wanted him back for this playoff push, and you could have offered them maybe, a Rasmussen or someone in who could offer them a little bit more depth. And you could have got Spencer Knight instead of the Blackhawks.
Yeah.
And you bring in another young
instead of Mrazek,
NHL ready,
instead of Mrazek,
you go after
too.
Something like that. You could have sent him Veleno, Tarasenko, and I don't know if that would have got the deal done, but
probably not. Nobody wanted Veleno.
Yeah, Veleno is such a dead weight. I can't believe that people. All right, and the people that are mad about that trade, like, there's no point. At least Mrazek's a net, he's a net positive in that trade. Everything else is like. Whatever.
Joe Veleno was not good.
No, there was no spot on this team. They tried him in every single role on the roster.
He was bad Darren Helm.
Yeah. Shout out Darren Helm. Favorite Red Wing of all time.
Darren Helm was very fun to watch.
I loved him so much. But then Steve Yzerman gets the Larkin comments. And I personally loved what he said.
Me too.
I love. Because that conversation with Larkin went very sternly, what we're doing here, Larks. Mm-hmm. The deal. We talked about this when I came here. This is going to be a long process built around you. You need to lead these guys. And I know you might have been speaking for the room. And honestly, he probably didn't even care. Yzerman probably didn't even care. No. He just wanted to set the record straight that I'm doing what I think's best for the team. And you have to remember, would you want to be saying bye to your buddy Marco or your buddy Lucas?
Yeah.
And in a trade to try to win
Dylan
now?
Cousins, yeah.
Is that what you wanted, Dylan?
You want us to get Alfredson again? You want us to get Mike Modano again? You want us to do the stupid Kenny Holland
trades? You want
trades?
Mather to be on the first line with you again?
Yeah, no.
So how about you take a seat?
How about you take some responsibility for poor play? How about you look at yourself, Dylan Larkin, and you say, I need to be better than I was down the stretch.
Well, he did say that.
I need to be better. But after he's throwing Larkin under the bus, Yzerman under the bus.
Well, he took accountability and then said it.
He
still said it though, which honestly, it was utterly shocking that he said it because it seemed like he said it without even saying anything to Yzerman about it, which that's where I get off the highway for why that's kind of crazy. Just take it. You're the captain of the team. You obviously have a good relationship with Yzerman. The fact that he wouldn't trash you to the media and kept things close to the chest like he likes to. He didn't start any drama. He obviously didn't want any trade rumors to come about from what he said. He cares about Larkin, and that's where I think that Dylan misstepped and really should have just talk to Yzerman.
Yeah, and like you said, I heard people saying he spoke up. That was him speaking up for the team. That was him speaking up for his guys. But like you said, is that him speaking up for, hey, Marco Kasper, sorry, we don't want you on this team. We'd rather have somebody else that would help us win right now. Hey, sorry, Mazur, I know it was amazing that you were about to play one game and you got hurt, but sorry, we're shipping you out for a guy that might not even be as good as you. Dylan Cousins was the guy that they were talking about. Dylan Cousins was the guy they wanted, and Buffalo said, give us Marco Kasper. I'm not doing that.
What do you do?
Steve Yzerman's not doing
What
that.
do you do for the Sens?
He didn't do shit. Like it's
A first-round exit.
you need a guy that is going to take you over the top. You need a superstar, and that's what I get pissed off at. Dylan Larkin. If you want to talk about this, if you want to talk about we should have made a trade, go be that superstar. Making a trade for another second line forward is not going to help this team make the playoffs. You need either Dylan Larkin, Lucas Raymond, or someone else to grab their nuts, step up, and score 40 goals a game. You had DeBrincat do it. Alex DeBrincat was by far the best player on the Red Wings team all season long. He did what he was supposed to do. He went out there. He gave you what you traded for him for. Lucas Raymond and Dylan Larkin fell off. We don't need to trade a young piece for a Dylan Cousins. That's not going to help this team. What this team needs is a superstar. And if you're not going to be that superstar, then you might get traded for him. So instead of saying, hey, we could have used something at the trade deadline, step up, be the superstar, be the 1C. And then you can start talking shit. But when you're scoring 8 goals in 3 months, what do you want him to do? You want him to trade for another Dylan Larkin? You'd be the one that would get moved. If we needed to upgrade and we needed to make this team better and be that Stanley Cup contending team, you're not trading a Casper. You're trading a Dylan Larkin and 2 young guys for a 1C 50 goal scorer. That's the trade that would help this team win, not Dylan Cousins.
And that's the harsh reality. Like, honestly, it really is, because we're talking about taking that next step. And when you have guys like Lucas Raymond and Marco Kasper who aren't even – like looking at their ceiling right now, they can't even see it. And you have Dylan Larkin, who you know who he is at this point in his career. He's played like 8+ seasons in the NHL.
Yeah.
He is a very good center. He is between the level of 1C and 2C. And when he has the line mate support, he's a 1C.
Yeah.
And that's what he is. Lucas Raymond could be a 100-point player. Marco Kasper could be a bona fide 2-way 1C.
Yeah.
Danielson could be a bona fide I don't want to put him in that conversation yet, but he has that potential still. It is there. You know, ASP could be a top 10, top 5 offensive defenseman in the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
Like they have the ceiling that is not in the stratosphere right now.
Yeah, and the only one who is at their ceiling right now outside of the vets is Dylan Larkin.
Yes.
So that's what got me, was him saying we would have liked to make a trade. You're not making a trade to get another, like I said, you're not making a trade to get another second line guy. That's not going to help this team improve. What's going to help this team improve is you go fucking sign Mitch Marner to $14 million.
You go trade for Pastrnak.
You go trade for Pastrnak. You get a fucking 50 goal scorer in here, because that's what you don't have. And if you want to be a Stanley Cup champion team, you need that.
Look at every Stanley Cup champion for the last 10 years.
Yeah, it'd be cute to be the Hurricanes until you get to the second round of the playoffs.
And you don't have a dude. Aho is not a dude.
No.
Every year he shrivels.
Look at the Canadians. Oh, that was awesome. Great team. Suzuki's great. Fucking out of here.
Yeah.
You need a dude. You need a guy. And if you wanted that at the deadline, it would have been Larkin. That was the one that was moved.
Yeah.
That I don't think they're going to trade Larkin. I'm just saying. A trade that would help this team is a superstar trade.
Yes.
And Dylan Cousins isn't a superstar.
No.
Dylan Cousins would have been worse than Casper, bar for bar.
I agree with that. I think that Kasper played a lot more quality minutes, especially after the trade deadline. After the trade deadline, when Marco Kasper had to step into a bigger role they hadn't played all year since Kopp got hurt, he played phenomenal. And
they need to make a big move.
That
is where the Red Wings are right now. They are at the hump. They are at the plateau. They are what they were last year. I know it's a 5-point difference or whatever the fuck it was. You are a borderline playoff team.
Yep.
If some pucks go your way, you'll be in the playoffs. If they don't, you won't. But you need to make that jump. You got to make a drastic move.
And you need to pray that
it works.
Boston doesn't get the first overall pick too, because if they draft Michael Misa, they will not trade Pastrnak. They will put Misa in the NHL immediately and play him with Pastrnak, and they will be a dynasty for the next. They will go right back to being just as good as they were.
Come on, Sharks.
But
come on, Sharks.
On the smaller move end, because we all know we need the bigger move. We need the dude.
Yes.
A former dude needs to be re-signed, and Steve Yzerman is optimistic about it, and that is Patrick Kane. Mm-hmm. And I'm very intrigued with a Patrick Kane move, because what I really want to do is I want to, in my paradise of a world, is play Patrick Kane on my third line.
I was just gonna say
His contract is going to be so cheap, so affordable. He wants to play in Detroit. He really loves it here. His family loves it here.
Great relationship with Kat. Great relationship with Mo Sider.
Literally has zero want to leave. It seems like he's like when a GM comes out and says it, that he's optimistic, and after a player already comes out and is optimistic about re-signing,
they're going to sign.
They're going to re-sign, and they're going to do the same thing. It's going to be an incentivized deal because Patrick Kane believes in himself, and why not?
He should.
He played another great season.
Yep.
But the goal would be where our team is so deep that
he's the Tarasenko.
Yeah, he's playing in that Tarasenko role.
Yes.
Like, he is single-handedly providing the scoring of our third line with, like mentoring a Danielson on the wing or something like that. Like that's what I'm talking about. Like, imagine your third line is Kopp, Kane, and Danielson, where you just have
Lombardi.
Or Lombardi. Like, we're talking about actually, bringing, like, now we're bringing players in instead of burying him on the fourth line like we did to Casper in the beginning of the season. We're now putting him on a third line that actually has...
Here, learn from the GOAT.
Yeah. Learn from the best American-born hockey player, like, alive.
Okay, yeah. Ever. Not alive, ever.
Yeah, ever.
Well, I guess Madonna's still alive, so yeah, he is alive too. But, yeah, that would be the dream, would be fucking Tarasenko gets shipped to Siberia, and you have a third line of, like you said, whether it be Kopp or Rasmussen, whoever at center, Kane, and a young guy. That would be perfect.
Yeah, and then you really can
I really like the fourth line of Soderblom, Rasmussen, Mazur. I think that would be fucking sweet.
Yeah, I think that's a really that's an actual
that's a grind line.
That's an NHL fourth line.
Yeah,
right
that's a grind line.
And that they have we're talking about a line that also has some offensive upside. We're that's not a fourth line where you're like, oh, I'm getting 10 points a year from each of them.
Yeah, it's not fucking what was Watson, fucking Fisher and
Smith.
Yeah, jeez.
That was so bad.
Oh,
yeah, we're talking about those are guys who I can expect we're getting at least 20 points each from.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to be good defensively with Rasmussen playing center on that line.
Yeah.
With Soda and Mazur, their
physical.
big line. Physical allows Mazur to really just be their skill guy too.
Yep.
I really like that setup. So as we talk about Soda, he did play in that AHL game, and I can't lie, he did look rusty. He did look like he was coming off that injury. He didn't really do anything until the third period. But when he did go into the third period, it was nice to see him playing with more of that offensive mentality and carrying the puck, trying to dangle through a couple guys, trying to make some plays, trying to grow that offensive skill side. Then I talked to him after the game, and he was like, yeah, I definitely felt rusty. It's an adjustment coming back to the AHL as well. It's slower. It's a lot more physical. And there's surprisingly not as much space as there in the NHL because of how skilled the guys are. And he had to carry the offensive weight. So he's still adjusting to that. Mm-hmm. But I think that this is ultimately going to do him some good, especially coming off that injury.
Yeah, we know what Soda is. We know what he's going to be in the league. Like, he's going to be a third or fourth line guy. He's not... he's not just a freak show. He's not just this circus act, but he's not this elite can't-miss prospect either. He's right in the middle, and he's going to be a solid NHL player for a little while. I was happy with what I saw out of him last year. Put him back in Grand Rapids, let him tune up the hands a little bit more in the playoffs, and then come back. He was playing more physical at the end of the year. You like to see that, obviously, with his size, and I want to get him more in some penalty kill work. Because I think you put him and Rasmussen and Edvinsson and someone else on that penalty line with those fucking arms, with that length.
I think that's a really, really solid unit. I also want to see Johansson step into a role where he plays in the PK. Yeah. He's just got to literally bulk up probably 10 pounds, and he'll be there.
I agree.
And I think that would be big for their D-core next year as well. There's a few times that Johansson kind of fell out of games, in my opinion, because he just wasn't really, there physically. And I would really like to see him just range that back and really start to tune up that body weight and be able to, because he's a big hitter. He throws some checks.
Yeah, he does.
He blew up a couple guys towards the end of the year, and I want to see him continue on that path and just grow. I think, for everyone, it's just about the growth. Lombardi was the best player on the ice, though, even for both teams, honestly. Amadeus, quick, demands the puck. Nice shot.
Sniper, dude.
Yeah, he really likes to find those holes in defenders' bodies and shoot through screens. And that's only going to get better if you were to put him on a line with Kane, or you were to put him with the break and really like allow him to learn from these guys who are just trained. He reminds me a lot of Cat.
Yeah.
Like he's got a lot of Cat in him. So getting him around Cat and learning from Cat, I think would really benefit him. He's going to be a Red Wing next year. I have no doubt about that. He's so good. He's at that level. He's so good.
And he's a reload for Berggren for when Berggren first got up to the Red Wings, what we expected him to be, what we thought he could be. Where it's that sniper, it's a guy that's going to be on that first power play unit, a guy that's going to be sitting there waiting for the shot. That's what we thought Berggren would eventually grow into. It didn't really work out that way. Lombardi, it's that same kind of track. He's a sniper.
Zip, though.
He's going to be a dog. He's going to be a power play merchant. Not merchant, but a power play force. And I expect him to be much better than what we got. I liked Berggren when he first, was coming up. He was scoring goals, but he hasn't improved to what I'd like to see. So give the shot to Lombardi. I think he can be just as good, if not better, than Berggren right now.
I agree with that, and he's very, like you said, very similar type of player. But Lombardi has more zip. He's faster. He's better laterally. I think that is a big thing because, especially for a team, Red Wings lack some speed.
Yes, they do. Absolutely.
And we're going to bring in a guy like Lombardi and Mazur, two guys who got some zip. And I really like making sure that both of them are in the lineup to start the year next year.
Mazur getting hurt last year, that fucked us so.
It did.
If Kopp doesn't get hurt and if Mazur doesn't get hurt, I believe the Red Wings make the playoffs.
I believe so too, and I do think that it will just Mazur will come back stronger.
You need meat and potatoes. You need meat and potatoes, guys.
You do.
Mazur is a meat and potatoes guy. He's a playoff forward. So is Nygaard. Nygaard's not going to be here yet, but he is that same kind of ilk. You need guys like that are going to go out there. They're not going to let their captain get cross-checked in the back of the neck. They're going to punch somebody in the mouth, and they can still play and do things offensively. Mazur is that meat and potatoes forward that they needed. He would have been such a boost to this team down the stretch. That one really hurt when he got injured.
Yeah, it really did. And I played against Mazur for many years, and he, like you said, exactly how you said, meat and potatoes guy. He does everything right. He just is so well-rounded as a player. He's good everywhere on the ice. He's great defensively, and he's going to help the 5-on-5 struggles from the bottom six.
Absolutely.
And that's going to be huge for this team.
And that'll help the penalty kill units. And that
he will play PK.
Absolutely.
I will guarantee you he will be on one of the PK units.
Absolutely.
To start the season next year. That is a perfect fit for him.
There's a reason we had one of the worst penalty kills in the entire history of the NHL last year, because you don't have two-way forwards. Your only two-way forwards were hurt in Kopp and Mazur. So getting those guys back, the penalty kill will look much better, and that alone will win you a couple more games.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I hope so. I don't want to like gas myself out on the prospects too much, because I don't want to like put these unheralded expectations on them.
No, that's what
I do expect. Mazur has shown that he can do that.
I think he's ready.
So, and I think Lombardi is also ready.
And they're better than what we fucking got now.
Yeah, they do.
Like right now, if they didn't improve at all, if they stayed at the same level they are right now, Mazur and Lombardi are better than Tarasenko and Berggren right now. And they would make your team better right now, even at this level. But they're obviously going to improve.
Even Watson was more effective than Berggren at some points. And you go down to those AHL games. And,
I liked Watson.
And Watson's solid down there. Like, he's playing on their first line. But the guys who carry the pace in that game is Lombardi.
Yeah.
Danielson, so skilled. Like when he is on, he is so good. Like, he's just got to find that consistency of the scoring. He's got all the tools. He's good two-way forward. I have a lot of faith in Danielson.
Yeah.
I don't know if he will. He's got to have a good offseason. Like, he's one of those guys. He's got to have a good offseason. He's not the Mazur or the Lombardi who I can write in right now. And they're going to be on the open roster. So the man of the hour, MBN's not ready. He did look like.
No, he's not.
He did.
Which is fine.
He looked more comfortable than I expected.
Yeah.
Because he translates the NHL game very well.
Absolutely.
His size and the way
he's going to be your guy's favorite player on the Red Wings when they're making playoff runs.
He was even playing on the PP as well, which was good to see.
He's got a sniper.
And he was playing the flank, which I liked for his 1T side. ASP did not have the greatest game. I will openly admit that.
Yeah.
With that being said, though, everything I was looking for from him, I saw. Okay? When he gets the puck in the D zone it is an immediate escape to finding open space, and he consistently finds it in an AHL game that has less space. When he has the puck at the top, you see that level of Quinn Hughes and Cole Hudson, the way that he walks the line, and you never know what he's going to do. Is he going to dish it?
Yeah.
He didn't throw a bad pass the entire game. I even went back and watched the game. Like, any bad pass, the only bad pass, Soda literally missed. It went right through his stick. And that's an NHL level player. Like, he is throwing hard NHL passes. Other than the one defensive collapse that I talked about earlier in the show, his defense was solid. He was playing physical. He wasn't afraid of the moment of the bigger guys. They were coming at him too.
Yeah, they're going to. That's going to be even worse when he gets to the bigs.
No doubt. They were going after him. They were trying to hit him anytime they could, and he was playing physical. He was playing scrappy. He was really fighting out there. I talked to him after the game, and
nice flex.
Yeah, it was awesome.
That's
I can't lie.
Good shit.
And I talked to him, and I was like, Axel, you looked a little uncomfortable in the first couple periods, but in the third period, I think you kind of started to get more comfortable. You started to feel the space out a little more. How was that for you, and how was you getting adjusted to the game? And he told me that he had a lot more space than he anticipated. He thought that because the ice was smaller, that he did. And when a guy tells you that, that's when he kind of flips the switch. Okay.
Yeah.
I expect him to have a lot better game in game 2.
Me too. When's game 2? Is it tomorrow?
It's Monday.
Okay.
He flipped that switch. He really felt it out there, and he was starting to feel it. He was really controlling the play with his skating and all his passing. His breakouts were superb. There's a few times where he got a little quick with it and tried to chip the puck out right into traffic, which I would have liked to see him keep escaping like he was. But overall, everything that I saw with him, I see now. And it's literally just about adjusting to the ice. As soon as he gets the ice down and he stops having that second thoughts of not being confident, and he starts playing with the confidence that he can play with.
Yeah,
100%. He's going. If he finds the confidence this summer, he gains 5-10 pounds. He will be on the Wings, guaranteed.
Yeah.
But if he's not on the Wings to start the season, he will be there by the middle of the season. There's no doubt about it.
I'm not worried about him at all. I have a lot of faith in him as a prospect. I think he's going to be that number one defenseman for the Red Wings when they're winning Stanley Cups. I think he's going to be the number one defenseman for the Red Wings in the next 3 years. This kid is special, and I know that he's not as good defensively as Edvinsson or Seider, but this league now, that's not how you win Norris trophies. That's not how you win. That's not how you're the best defenseman on the team. You got to be a Cale Makar, a Quinn Hughes. You got to be a guy like that, and that's what he is. I'm so excited to see what he could do. I really hope he makes the team out of camp next year. I expect him to, honestly. I think he is going to make this team. I think he's going to be starting game 1, second pairing probably, maybe the first pairing. But
his floor is Bouchard.
Honestly.
Like, if he doesn't get any better defensively, he will at least be Bouchard.
Yeah.
He will.
And you need that.
He's got a wicked shot. He's got a great playmaking ability. He's got all the tools in the world. I can't wait to see him in a Red Wings jersey, because even losing 4-0, every time he touched the puck, I was so excited, and he brings that excitement.
The only prospect in the Detroit Red Wings system that I like more than ASP is Trey Augustine. I think both of them are going to be insane.
I think those are the two elite prospects that you can have those types of claims for.
Yep.
100%. Well, that has been Woodward Wings. Thank you so much for tuning in. Shout out to Spenny. He will actually be here next Friday as well, so that will be another fun episode as we will dive even deeper. I will probably have a roster projection for next year.
I like that.
I will also have some comments. There was a bunch on our last episode about Larkin, so I will make sure that I pick those up, drop some more in this one as well. Drop a like, subscribe, and tune in next Saturday at 10 a.m. when we drop these episodes. Peace. We'll catch you in the next one.
If Justin Hall's on the roster suggestion, I'm leaving.